everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Heather Briggs of My So Quilty Life, and today we are kicking off the Flower Shop Block of the Month, starting with our month 1 block 1 tutorial. Are you so excited? I am so excited to get going. But before we get started on making our block 1, I thought I would show exactly where in the quilt block 1 is and where you're going to make your first block. So it is in the window. It is right here on this side of the door, right here. This is your block 1. Your month 1 block 1 block are these little daisies and these little flower pots, and this is the first time we are using our hand embroidery. So here is a block 1. Let me show you from the top camera what block 1 looks like up close. So for our month 1 block 1, we are making this block here in the top portion of the storefront window. We have these adorable little daisies in these flower pots. As you notice, they are the same daisy and they are the same leaves. So this block is super simple. It goes together so quickly. You do, like I mentioned, have your first hand embroidery, and this is the daisies. So go ahead and cut out all of your hand embroidered pieces using the measurement in your pattern or from the template. And we're gonna go ahead and get started making this cute block. Okay, are you ready to make this adorable block as much as I am? Okay, let's get started on that tutorial. Okay, I'm ready to get started and I have everything that I need, but first I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that you can download in the main hub. Don't forget to download your alphabet markers. These can be found in the main hub using the QR code that you have in that welcome brochure within your pattern. Download these, print them out, laminate them however you desire, and let's start staying organized within this block of the month. So as you can see here, I have went ahead and cut out all of my pieces, and I am using the alphabet markers. As you can see, I have gone ahead and made a few of the units just to speed up the tutorial just a bit, but I left a couple here that we can walk through together. But I just lay out my pieces and get them all cut out and just lay that alphabet marker on that piece using a design board. There are a ton of different design boards out there. You can buy or make your own. I made my own using a foam core board that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I hot glued extra batting that I had. Now, some people will add a fancy binding to this, and I don't, just so that I don't feel guilty if I want to throw this away. So go ahead and get all of your pieces cut out. You do need to get your month 1 pattern. This is what it looks like. We are going to be starting off making block 1. Now, something I did want to mention, and I mentioned this in my welcome video, but I am actually not using the Dainty Meadow collection like most of you probably are. And I'm doing that because I already made one quilt using the Dainty Meadow collection, and I thought it'd be so fun to make it in a different collection using my stash and scraps that I have from other previous collections. I had all of you vote on if I should do that or not, and there was an overwhelming response that yes, Heather, please make it in a different fabric collection. It gives us ideas. And then I'm not stuck with 2 of the same quilts, which I was in Flower Sand. Although they are gorgeous, I do not need 2 of the same quilt. So for the most part, I've tried to make sure I'm matching the color that I'm using to the color that's in the pattern, but not always. So I hope I don't confuse you too much, but I'm sure you'll be just fine because in the pattern, if you are using the Dainty Meadow fabric collection, the fabric swatch is in the pattern. So I don't think you will get confused at all. Okay, so I shared a video of all of my fabrics that I have right here in the last welcome video. Be sure to check that out if you want to see the fabric I am using for my block of the month. I'm using a mix of Yoder fabrics and Sheri and Chelsi fabrics for my block of the month quilt. Okay, are you ready to get started? I am so ready. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to open up my pattern to block 1. And if you haven't cut out your pieces yet, go ahead and cut them out. Use the little check boxes to mark off when you have cut out those pieces so you don't get confused. Now I'm going to go ahead and walk you through each step. Some of the steps I've already done, but I am going to walk you through them to show you how I do them, give you tips and tricks, and kind of make this tutorial a little quicker than previous tutorials. Now, if you were in the Flower Sand block of the month, all of these techniques are the exact same. You actually even might have already already made some of these flowers in your flower stamp block of the month. Not all flowers were repeated, but some were. And so I thought I'd start with this block because you probably are familiar with this cute block. Now, most of the techniques in the pattern are just simple stitch and flip units. So simple, I know that you're not gonna have any difficulty doing them at all. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with step one. And step one is to always draw a diagonal line on the back of your pieces. Now, I actually do not draw diagonal lines on the back of my fabric because I use diagonal seam tape by Cluck Cluck Sew. This is just a washi type tape that sticks to your machine, and you just line up that corner of your piece with the red line and sew down. Super simple. But if you do not have this and you feel more comfortable drawing those diagonal lines, go ahead and do that now for the pieces that I state in the pattern. Okay, so are you ready to get started with step two? So for step two, we are making our J units. These are the units that are in the flower petals. Now, I have gone ahead and made all of my flowers using my J units and a couple other units, but I am going to walk you through really quick how you make these J units, which is why I left one flower undone. So what you need is you need your fabric J and 2 fabric eyes. So here is my remaining J for this, and then 2 fabric eyes, which are these little squares here. All we're gonna do is add them to the top corners here, and then we're gonna stitch on our diagonal line. Now, I went ahead and did that, and here I have. So you are gonna press towards your fabric eye square. So here I have 3 others. Once you do that, you can move on to step 3. So I'm gonna set these aside because I'm gonna assemble them all at once. So for step 3, you just need your L fabric square, and you need 4 Ks. Now the Ks should match the same as these J units up here. So you can see I've already gone ahead and made 2 of them. Those are my J units and my L units, and I assembled them to make my flower units. And that is all we're doing here. But first, we are just aligning all of these fabric K squares on the corner of our fabric L square and assembling on the diagonal line, and you are going to press towards fabric K. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and assemble these last units here, and then we will put together a flower unit together in step 4. Okay, I just got done making my J unit and my L unit, and now we're going to put together a flower unit. But before we do that, I just want to give you a quick tip that helps me in my piecing, especially when I am using small pieces. Now, under each step in the instructions, I give you what your unit should measure after you assemble those stitch and flip units. It is very important that your unit does measure that exact size. So something I like to do is I always trim up after each step. I always just cut off the little bit that might be hanging over or the little bit of threads, because that is going to add a little bit of extra bulk in your quilt, and also it's going to allow for a little bit of inaccuracy, which is what we don't want when working with small pieces. So just keep that tip in mind, that you do need to trim up your unit and square it up and trim off all those little bits. I know personally when I do stitch and flip units, I do have a little bit that hangs over the side, which I just go ahead and trim that right up so it is clean and crisp. Now that we have done step 2 and 3, we're going to go ahead and put our flower unit together. And what we need is our L unit, our J units, and 4 fabric D squares. And this is easy. We're just arranging everything according to the diagram. Now, if you are using directional fabric, I think in the Dainty Meadow collection there are some directional. Just make sure that if you are using those directional stripes, that they are going the way that you prefer them to go. In the pattern, I had them going horizontal. Okay, so for step 4, it is super simple. All we're doing is assembling the fabric Ds to the sides of our J units and 2 J units to the side of that L unit. And from there, when those are assembled, we are assembling all of them together. Now, there are little black arrows within each of my steps. Those represent pressing direction, and when it has a number, those represent pressing direction with assembly order. So you're going to see in here, you're going to have a 1 and a 2. So the 1 and the 2 represent sewing those fabric Ds to the J units, and so on. So go ahead and make all of your flower units, and then we will move on to step 5. Okay, so for step 5, we are making those little stem units. So you need a couple of pieces for this. You need your fabric M rectangles and fabric I squares. And all we're doing here is making those little leafy units. And pay close attention to the pattern, because some go one way and some go the other way. You're essentially creating a left and a right unit for those M units. So here I have one of my M units. Now I have already gone ahead and made 2 here. So as you can see, those are my right RM and my left RM, and there are 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble those, and when we get back, we're going to be putting together our stem units. Okay, I just got done finishing my RM and my left M unit here. So here we have our RM and our LM. Now again, I already made the other leaves up here. So now we're going to go ahead and go to step 6 and make 2 of our outer stem units, which I have done here. All I did was take 1 LM and 1 RM and 2 fabric Gs. I sewed 1 to the top and I assembled 1 to the bottom. And then I pressed and assembled both of those to that fabric in, which is the little stem here. So you will be making 2 of those outer stem units, but I thought I would walk you through that again with the middle stem unit. So you do need fabric M. And as you will notice, they will be different from these ones. These ones have fabric G on the top of the right side, but on the middle stem unit, we are putting it on the bottom, and on the left side, we are putting it on the top. So right here, you're just going to assemble your fabric G to your LM and RM, and once you've pressed, you are assembling both of those to your fabric N. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when I return, we'll be on step 8. Okay, I just finished with step 7, and here we have our middle stem unit. So now we have all of our flower and all of our stem unit. Now we can move on to making the cute little flower pot. So I'm going to set these aside. So I've gone ahead and already made those flower pots because it is the same technique we're using with the stitch and flips. So all we're doing on step 8 is we are taking our fabric O and 2 fabric Fs and attaching the F squares to the bottom to make this left pot unit. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to step 9. So for step 9, we need our 2 fabric Ps, our 2 fabric Qs, and our 1 fabric A. Now this was from the pre-printed panel that I have available in my shop, but if you hand embroidered yours, just go ahead and cut that down to the size listed in the pattern and we can get going. So this is super simple. All you're doing is assembling your fabric Q, rectangles to the side and pressing towards fabric Q, and then assembling your P's to the top and bottom and then pressing towards fabric P. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when we get back, we'll move on to step 10. Okay, so here is my little daisy pot. It's coming together. The only thing we have to do left with this is add 2 fabric F squares to the bottom here, just like this. Super simple. Assemble on your diagonal line, press towards fabric F. But I'm going to walk you through step 11 as well, because I combined a bunch of steps here to make this R unit. So you do need fabric R and 2 fabric Fs to make the R unit. It's this bottom piece down here. As you'll see in your pattern, you're just assembling those fabric F squares to the bottom and pressing towards fabric F. And then for step 12, you are assembling your fabric S to the top. Super simple, nothing we haven't done already. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to step 13. We're gonna start putting this block together, which is the fun part. Okay, so first I need to look at my fabric since I am using different fabrics than Dainty Meadow. If you're using Dainty Meadow, it shows in the pattern exactly which fabric to use. But I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of align how the blocks will be. I know that that daisy blue vase is in the middle with the darker green, and I want to use my darker pink fabric there. And then we have this pot, which will go here with a lighter one, and then this here. And let's see, do I like that? Do I want to switch anything up? I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on the left side. So I'm going to move these 2 to the side. And what we need is our fabric B rectangle. On the top, we need a flower unit. We need a outer stem unit and our left pot unit. All we are going to be doing here is just assembling all of these together with our 1/4 inch seam. Super simple. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move that to the side so I can talk about what to do in step 14. So in step 14, we are putting together our middle flower unit. You just need exactly what you have here, your flower unit, your middle stem unit, and your middle pot unit. Again, assembling with your 1/4 inch seam. But now we're gonna move on to step 15. We got a couple steps here to do. So for step 15, we need a flower unit, an outer stem unit, and our right pot unit. But we also need fabric E and 2 fabric C's. Now we got a couple steps to do here first. So this is the one I'm gonna walk you through, and then I will assemble all mine together. So the first thing you're gonna do is assemble fabric E to the top of your flower unit, and then assemble your outer stem unit. Now, when you are assembling each of these, this is where you have to pay close attention here to make sure that those line up. So what I do is I go ahead and align it, and I flip it back with what a 1/4 inch would be, and I see, does that look good? I think that looks pretty good right there. So what I do is I just stitch right across there. So all I will do is put my needle down here and stitch all through here. That way I can look and make sure that lines up. So I'm not having to take out all of the stitches from the top to the bottom of that seam if I don't like it. So just pay close attention, making sure that those line up perfectly there. That is really the only place on this whole block where those really do have to line up good. Okay, so after you have assembled those pieces here, you will then assemble your fabric C and press towards fabric C. After that, this whole unit will be put together. You can then assemble your right pot unit. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble all of these pieces together, and when I get back, we'll start back on step 16. Okay, I just got done assembling these cute little flowers in their little flower pot, and now we are going to assemble this block together. So for step 16, we just need our middle flower unit and our left flower unit, and all we're doing is using our last pieces, fabric H rectangles. And we are going to assemble 1 fabric H on the right side of our middle flower unit and 1 fabric H on the right side of our left flower unit, and then assemble those together there. After we have assembled step 16, for step 17, and our last and final step, is to assemble our right flower unit to the right side of those. So I'm going to go ahead and get that assembled, and then when I get back, we'll be all finished with the block. I can't wait to show you what it looks like. Okay, I just got done with block 1, and I am so excited to show you. Are you ready to see it? Here it is. Here is the block 1 of the Flower Shop Block of the Month, and I love it so much. These are so stinking cute. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I'm very pleased with the fabric that I have decided to use for the Block of the Month, and I hope you found this block to be super easy and a great way to kick off the Flower Shop Block of the Month. Now, there's only a couple more things left to do. First, you have those block markers that you can download from the main hub. They are with the alphabet markers. You can cut these out. This says block 1, and all I'm going to do is use a little wonder clip and just clip block 1 to the top. Now, the other thing that we can go ahead and do is we can go ahead and start marking off things from our progress tracker. So I can go ahead and cross off make block 1 on my progress tracker, and I'm halfway there to being able to block off a space on my bingo card making month 1 blocks. So I hope you are as excited as I am to make these Flower Shop Block of the Month blocks. This is going to be such a great and fun block of the month. I am so excited to walk you through making the rest of the blocks. Be sure to check out the next tutorial where we make block 2 from month 1. That block is super cute as well. So I hope that you found this tutorial helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video. Also, comment below if you are making block 1. I'd love to know. Also, don't forget to share your progress once you make block 1. Don't forget to share it on social media using hashtag Flower Shop BOM. All right, so I will see you in the next tutorial where we will make block 2. Bye, everybody.